My name is Emir Beganović, and I'm a software engineer, founder of Mirror.ba, which is a local project of software content mirror. Today, my goal of this presentation is to try to persuade you to raise the awareness of the importance of local content in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Basically, I personally have almost a decade of relationship with Thrive in a way that I tried to do the first PHNX for initiative in 2011. I attended the Middle East Network Operators Group meeting and realized that setting up an IXP in Bosnia will take longer time than expected. So basically, I realized that in the meantime, there is possibility to increase software and other content in the country to actually have some traffic generated organically before the IXP is launched. So basically, when I say local content, I mean a couple of things. First of all, local websites and all the traffic that's generated by most of the internet users nowadays looking news articles, reading portals, sport videos, and so on. Then the content from local web hosting companies, which are hosting thousands of small websites. Also content from CDNs, which unfortunately we have none in the country as in a way of points of presence. Then software mirrors, one of the points that I realized that I could contribute to, and video sites and so on. So when it comes to top 10 or 15 most visited websites in the country, most of them are prefixed with like a Cloudflare proxy in front of them, and all the traffic of all the thousands of images on one of the top two, actually the top two websites in the country are served elsewhere. So all of this content is served from POPs in Zagreb, Belgrade, Vienna, and Budapest, and that's the current state of most visited websites according to Dotmetrics, which is measuring users and visits on these sites. Basically, we have also a minority of local content hosted on government websites and increasing number of e-services, but this is really small in terms of traffic and the bandwidth that it generates. So basically, the idea was to try to set up something of centralized and neutral software mirror that would be a catalyst for IXP traffic. This is some type of traffic that most of you don't even realize that's happening and going out in your PCs, on laptops, or mobile phones. For example, today when you came and connected locally to the wireless network, most of your devices synchronize time using network time protocol, and they synchronize this using a server which is the closest server with the lowest latency to your device, which was then the server in Sarajevo. So basically, the idea was to try to engage more and more software products that are doing updates and heavy updates throughout the year and throughout the months, to have them localized in the country, whereas when we get the IXP fully operational, we will be able to utilize this even more and more. So basically, for last 15 or 20 years, by the initiative of some volunteers, we had long-running CentOS and Ubuntu mirrors, one of the top two most popular Linux distributions, network time protocol server, but the issue was that most of these were maintained by volunteers, which are at that time students, not well maintained in terms of any guarantees of SLA, or also a lack of full-time commitment for maintaining these. Basically, you couldn't rely on server getting updates. Sometimes if you do Ubuntu updates on your dedicated servers in the country, you will get 404s because some packages are just missing, and no one had actual full reliability in these services. This is the original post from December 2008. Some of the people here in the room might be familiar with the local Linux user group. Basically, the CentOS mirror was then set up in the country, available through HTTP, FTP, and rsync protocols, and it worked for almost 10 years, and unfortunately we had to swap it and create a new place for it where it will have a dedicated server and disk for itself. Basically, then the idea of mirror.ba was created, and it started with a CentOS mirror, and we tried to add more and more distributions and other important softwares to this. Um, Basically, there are a couple of things that are really important, and local mirrors and the presence of a local mirror in a country benefits them. Mostly in other countries nearby, in ICE region or in Europe, there are several ISPs always in the country having a standard set of repositories they host or that they mirror, and then based on their efforts they are putting in. Sometimes these are very reliable, like in case of Austria and Germany, but usually it takes time, or they are sometimes not up to date, lagging 1 or 2 days behind. So basically, one of the most important benefits to have it in the country is to have the fastest possible way from the user to the server in the least number of hops possible. Basically, with the starting of an IXP in a couple of months, this will be even more visible. Secondly, if this server has fully dedicated maintainers, then it can get security patches and updates in regular time. And it's also, as I said in the beginning, it's an organic way to generate almost highly automated traffic. Basically, all of the apps that are hosted on the mirror have background updates, and some of those you mostly don't see. And we also got additional exposure to serve software mirror from software content from this mirror to neighboring countries. Basically, 80% of the traffic from this software mirror is generated from Bosnia, but there's also significant traffic through neighboring countries from ex-Yugoslavian countries, and Italy, Bulgaria, and Romania. So the projects that are currently hosted are a mix of open source and free software projects and Linux distributions. The biggest of them are here in bold, generating the most traffic. VideoLAN is one of the most, if not the most popular free client for watching videos, and it generates a lot of traffic basically due to its nature that it's doing automatic background updates. Then LibreOffice is a popular alternative to Microsoft's Office, and Ubuntu, one of the most important and most popular Linux distributions. Also, we have a couple of smaller projects here, but one of the most critical of them serving the whole country's infrastructure is the network time protocol. The statistics of this server are growing every month. The traffic is growing by almost 10%. So now we have around 50 terabytes of monthly traffic, and this is estimated to grow much faster in terms of traffic when the IXP is launched. When it comes to the plans for the server future, we want to do more redundancy by adding a new server with the disk. So basically, in a life cycle of one software mirror, the disk space usage is always increasing. So we're not deleting all the packages from previous distributions or previous versions, so there is constant need to add more and more disk space. Currently, this is hosted privately within BH Telecom with some custom setup of few disks in RAID 1, but the long-term idea is to move this on or very near to the premises of IXP in UTIC to ensure the project has a bright and long-term future.